The most common form of equity compensation is stock options. What many executives coming over from Israel to the United States don't always realize is that there are two different types of stock options, and it's important for them to try to negotiate before they change jobs or before they get transferred to get the better form of option if it's available. The better form is called an incentive stock option. In an incentive stock option, there's no tax to the executive until the executive actually sells the shares of stock that he got through the process. So in other words, he gets options, there's no tax event. He exercises the option, there's no tax event. He gets the stock, and then now, until he actually sells the stock, there's no tax event. So it's much, much more beneficial to executives as a general rule to get incentive stock options than regular stock options. With a regular stock option, you're not taxed on the award of the option, but when you exercise the option, you pay tax on the difference between the amount that you had to pay to exercise and the value of the stock. So as an example, let's say the executive moves over, gets stock options, and the stock options say for $1 a share, you have 10 years in which you can exercise your stock options and get, let's say, 100 shares for each option that you exercise. So if the executive then sees that the stock went up in value and it's worth, let's say, the 100 shares now are not worth $100, they're worth $1,000. They've gone up from $1 a share to $10 a share. So the executive says, okay, well, I want to exercise my options. So if it's a regular stock option, then when he exercises, he's going to have to pay tax on the difference between the value of the shares, which is $1,000, and the $100 he has to pay to exercise those shares, leaving a $900 profit that he has to pay ordinary income tax on. However, if it was an incentive stock option with the same factors, then he doesn't have to pay tax at all until he sells the shares, which can be much more, down the line, much further in the future, where he can, plan for how to deal with the capital gains. It's only capital gains also. It's not ordinary income tax at all, like in the first case. So incentive stock options would be a very, useful approach. There's also something called restricted stock. And in restricted stock, the company gives you stock, but it says you have to work for the company for, let's say, 4 years before it vests. So that is also a often very valuable form of equity compensation that's given to executives. And there, when the years vest, and the stock becomes owned by the individual, then there's ordinary income tax to be paid.